As a growth strategist, I understand the power of definitions. So, what exactly is growth? And for me, growth is increase in stature, wisdom, and favor. If you're talking about a person, an individual. So, personal growth, the topic that I'm very, very keen about because I understand it, even though I train leaders, I train pastors, I train people in business. It always starts with personal growth. And for me, personal growth is a combination of a number of things. I have mentioned before that when we talk about finance, when you talk about personal growth, you're talking about your growth in the area of finance, the area of intellect, the area of spiritual growth. We are talking about your education, probably, which is part of intellectual. We're also talking about maturity and self-control, which is what you call emotional intelligence. And we're also talking about growing socially, and that is in relations. And so now, let me talk about the different stages that you have of growth. And every growth starts with what we call discovery. That is the power of self-awareness. You need to understand the essence of being self-aware. Self-awareness is when you start realizing you're searching deep inside yourself and outside to really understand and comprehend who you are. You're not your profession. If, for instance, you're a teacher, you're not a businessman. If that is not your real identity, that is maybe your career. But the person whom you really are is the person that God created you to become. And I know there are people who run life just guessing and second guessing everything that comes their way. They try so many things, but which is actually fundamental. It's the beginning of self-awareness, because you have to try many things until you realize what you're really good at and what you think you are really cut for. And unfortunately, many people end up living their life without ever recognizing and knowing their real strength. And that is why we have so many people who are failures and we have people who are successful. And of course, it also depends on what you consider to be success, because there are people who are very successful financially, but they lead a miserable life. So my goal is to ensure that as you rise financially, you must also increase and grow in other dimensions of life. And basically, I have written a book called The Success Roundabout, which talks about the 7 dimensions in which every one of us should focus and strive to grow in. But today, I want to talk about the stages, which is almost like a pyramid of growth. Because at the bottom is people who have not known what they are really good at. And at that stage, some people now have to go through the process we call self awareness process. That is the bottom, that is the lowest part. If you don't ever take time to like consider your experiences in life and what you're really good at, all you do is just wake up in the morning and strive to meet the needs of the day, you'll never come to a realization of what you're really cut for. And therefore, you need to sit down. Experience is not always the best teacher. It is experiences that are thought relevant and that helps you to improve the quality of life that you have, that we call teachers. It is not every experience. So the moment you now go through the process of self discovery or self-awareness is what you call now development. You start developing yourself. A good example is when I discovered that I can do training. I was already a teacher. I therefore did not consider that to be my real identity. I knew that I could do more. I could build the capacity of people and make them better. Even, but for me to be able to build others, I had to first of all build me. You cannot build others if you're not building yourself. So I started on a journey where I have invested massive hours in books, in seminars, in conferences, in videos, online and offline, hours of meditation and thinking. I've been reading widely. So the moment you see me broadcasting and even talking about growth, I did not just wake up one morning and start speaking about it. It's something that I've been in the process of developing for quite some time now. And that is the process we call development. And development is lifelong. Even if you're going to go to the next stage, which is actually the experience stage, where you now start to experience some success. There are people who settle there. The moment you start to experience some success, like you're making a little money, you have a little income, a little cash, you just think, well, things are working, these are good enough. You start enjoying your success, your small wins, and you settle there. But experience is not supposed to be the last one. There's the next stage, which not so many people, despite the fact that there are quite a number of people who are here, what you call the mastery stage. So remember, Growth is a pyramid. We are starting from self-awareness, then development, and then to mastery. So at mastery, you are better in your area. You are a master in your industry. Many people recognize that, for instance, if it's in leadership, you are such a good trainer. If it's in business, you want to understand something about vehicles, importation and exportation, or manufacturing, you can consult this and that company. These are masters. These are people who are at the top of their game. They are well known in their industry. But let me tell you something. Mastery is not the end of the game. There is another level, what we call the pinnacle. The pinnacle. You see, in Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there are people who will just need the physiological needs and they are fine. Just the basic things like you have shelter, you have food, you have housing, that's all. But the moment you start rising, you realize that you need security and you also need a sense of belonging. Then, as you rise up and up, you discover that you have what you call the self-esteem needs, and at the top of the hierarchy is what you call self-actualization. And unfortunately, not so many people ever reach the self-actualization. It is the same thing in growth, that many people will stop at development, others will stop at experience, others will stop at mastery, thinking they are the best because praises are coming from everywhere. But there is another stage, and that is what we call the pinnacle. At the pinnacle level, you're not competing with anyone. You are in your own world. People who are at the pinnacle compete against themselves. For instance, Kipchoge, he was the best in marathon, having recorded, I think, 2 hours. He held the world record. That is Eliud Kipchoge, a Kenyan athlete who had the world record for the fastest marathon runner. But he said no human is limited. And therefore, when he went to compete to run for a marathon for under 2 hours, and thus to break his own record, he was not competing against anyone. He had people we call the motivators, the people who are running with him, but just to give him company. At some point, he had to run alone. This is what you call the pinnacle level. It doesn't just happen in the field of athletics. It also happens in other areas of life. Bill Gates, for instance, when he became the richest man in the world, he did not stop there. He continued to invent and to continue to make Microsoft better and better. And I think it is the same thing that is happening even right now. People like Elon Musk being at the top, but he's still coming up with new products, new companies. You want to go far up more and more. So this is what you call the pinnacle level. And at pinnacle level, you're not competing against anyone. It's a stage where you really have to give your best. So that is where I want us to get into. You must ensure that you do not rest. Mastery is not the best. It's not your best. It's neither my best. I'm looking forward to go to the highest, because that is really exploitation of all my potential. When we talk about potential, we all have so much potential, but some of us will never exploit even half of what we have, what God has endowed and blessed us with. When God looks at you because you're successful and you think that that is the end, but he considers what he has gifted you with and what you're capable of. It is such a tragedy. And I pray that, oh God, may you help us to realize and to understand that we have so much immense potential that we can continue to nurture and to develop and become so much great. So my challenge is, where are you? Have you even discovered yourself? Are you developing yourself? Are you a master in something? And if you're a master in something, don't settle there. Go to the next level. May you continue giving it your best, and you will exploit all your potential. Yes, we can. And with God, all things are possible. Amen.